My husband said over and over again, it didn't mean anything. That just made me even more angry. Are the words you're using or the responses that you're giving actually causing even more damage to your betrayed spouse? Are you saying or hearing things that you're hoping will be reassuring, like, I said it will never happen again? Or maybe you're getting frustrated and asking questions like, you were fine 5 minutes ago. What's wrong with you? Maybe it feels like you're walking on eggshells, and no matter how hard you try, anything you say triggers yet another fight. My husband and I are here to help. I've asked him to read my top 10 phrases to avoid, so you can hear just how jarring they sound to a betrayed spouse. Then I'm going to provide you with some practical alternative solutions for you to consider. Let's dive in.
Why are you asking me about this again? I've already answered that.
You're not wrong. You probably have answered that question before, maybe 9 times, maybe 19 to be exact. Now I get it, the frustration, the agitation, the internal scream of, please God, will they ever stop asking these damn questions? I remember doing this myself, relentlessly, obsessively, heartbreakingly. I asked my husband the same gut-wrenching questions over and over again for months, and I had my reasons. Sometimes I was testing him. I wanted to see if his answers were going to be consistent or if I could find any discrepancies. These interrogations came from a place of deep fear and shattered trust. Other times, I genuinely couldn't remember what he said. Trauma does some strange things to the brain. Add in sleep deprivation, anxiety, and maybe a glass or 3 of wine, and my memory was spotty at best. I was simply trying to understand, to absorb, to accept. The answers just didn't feel real. They sounded like someone else's life, not mine. I had to hear them again and again before I could believe that the nightmare was actually mine, even when I was awake. So when the betrayed spouse repeats the same questions, it's not an obsession. It's the brain desperately trying to make sense of the senseless. Up next, a personal favorite, number 9.
You were fine 5 minutes ago. What's wrong with you?
Sure, this may seem like a reasonable observation followed by a logical question. But here is the reality. Betrayal trauma can cause 100 triggers in a single day. A place, a smell, a name, a song, just about anything can hijack their nervous system in an instant. That's because betrayal trauma activates the brain's fear center, the amygdala, locking it into fight, flight, fawn, or freeze mode. Meanwhile, the logical part of the brain, the frontal cortex, goes totally offline. 1 minute, they're fine. The next minute, they're emotionally drowning. It isn't moodiness. It's not manipulation. It's trauma that is raw, real, and all-consuming. Here's a popular one, number 8.
Why do you have to make everything about the affair?
Pack your bags. We're going on a guilt trip. This one may feel like a legitimate complaint, but in reality, our bodies are built for survival. And since the primary threat to survival is the affair, everything is seen through that lens. Just like the victim of a mugging trying to walk through a dimly lit park on the way home from work, the betrayed spouse is on high alert all the time. Any pain, any change of plans, any new observation, any unexpected response, anything that mildly reeks of a trigger takes the betrayed spouse right back into the betrayal. We're not dragging everything back to the affair for punishment or drama. We're being dragged back because of the trauma. It isn't an obsession with the past. It's the brain trying to survive an emotional injury that has shattered our sense of safety. This next one makes me cringe. Number 7.
Why are you making this into such a big deal? It was just this or only that.
It was only a one-night stand. There's people out there with a whole secret other family. Or, so I paid for sex. I don't even know her name. A really common one is, it was an emotional thing. You're acting like I slept with him or her. Even if you're trying to reduce your partner's pain, what they're likely hearing is, you're overreacting and I'm not going to own this. Here's the truth. Minimizing does not soothe. It invalidates. Rather than explaining what it wasn't, own what it was. The truth is a way better foundation to build on than any justification ever could be. Brace yourself for this next one. Number 6.
It didn't mean anything.
This one stings in a particular way. I know it's often said in an attempt to reassure and express it meant nothing in comparison to what we have. But this was my interpretation. You threw away your marriage, our family, and risked your entire career for something that meant nothing? That made me feel even more irrelevant and expendable. If it meant nothing, then just exactly how little did I mean? I needed my husband to own that it did mean something to him at the time. Whether that something was an escape, an addiction, a fantasy, or numbing something that he just didn't want to cope with. Him being willing to share that self-discovery with me helped us move forward in our recovery. Saying it meant nothing was both insulting and counterproductive. This one is tough. Number 5.
But it was so long ago.
It might have happened years ago for you, but if your partner just found out, the betrayal is fresh. You may have had 20 years to amend your behavior, but they've just realized in the last 20 years, they've been living a lie. The healing clock doesn't start when the affair ends. It starts when the truth begins. Now, if you're thinking, but they've known about the infidelity for years and they are still bringing it up, ask yourself, have there been additional discoveries that have reset the clock? Have you both received specialized care for infidelity trauma? Is there ongoing visible work being done to rebuild trust and safety? If the answer to any of these questions is no, then it's unreasonable for you to expect anything different. But if you feel the answer to this is yes, and you're feeling stuck, it may be time to explore deeper trauma therapies like EMDR or ETT, which are designed to help the brain process and release trauma in a more complete way. Take note. Number 4.
You need to calm down.
Okay. So no one in the history of calm down has ever calmed down simply because someone instructed them to do so. This phrase does not de-escalate. It inflames. When your partner is emotionally flooded, they don't need a lecture. They need compassion and stability. Sure, a timeout may be in order, but be clear and kind about that. Don't try to put a lid on their pain. Who doesn't love a good cautionary tale? Number 3.
Well, if you hadn't...
Tempting, I know. It's natural to want to highlight the other issues in the marriage. But here's the truth. No matter what was or wasn't working, infidelity was still a choice. Until safety and trust are rebuilt, deflecting by bringing up your own resentments will only derail recovery. Own your part fully. There will be time later in a healthier season to revisit who pulls their car too far into the garage and who might be a little too controlling about the kids and the finances. If you liked this top 10 list of things not to say to a betrayed spouse, be sure to catch a little extra one that I added that's actually a tie for number 1 in my book. Oh, if it were only this simple. Number 2.
Look, it won't happen again. Can't we just move on?
Saying it just won't happen again may sound like reassurance, but remember, it wasn't supposed to happen at all. This statement is both dismissive and insulting. What actually brings peace isn't a promise. It's a plan, followed by action. So instead of saying, trust me, show your partner. Do recovery work, both as a couple and as an individual. Get involved with 12-step work for addictions. Find a therapist. Everyone and their mother could use some therapy. Participate in and initiate consistent, open, honest, and transparent communication. Act with urgency. Put proper boundaries and safety measures into place for your relationship and to prevent relapse. Living differently is what builds credibility. Don't tell them that you're different. Show them. Trust me, they're watching. I intentionally set this one aside to stand all on its own. It's actually a tie for first place in my top 10 things not to say to the betrayed spouse. It's not going to apply to everyone. In fact, I wish it didn't apply to anyone, myself included. But here we are. Drumroll, please. The tie for first place is, the affair is over. I swear I've cut off all contact. When in fact, you have not. The best way I can describe what this did to me is to say that it felt like a trap door opened from under my feet, and without any warning, I plummeted down into the basement of rock bottom. We don't have basements in California, so I wasn't mentally prepared to find myself hyperventilating on my hands and knees at the bottom of one. Consumed by absolute rage, disgusted by yet another lie, and filled with hatred at myself for believing him. Someone is going to need to hold me back for this next one. Number 1.
I was trying to protect you by not telling you the truth.
Let's call this what it is. Control disguised as care. Saying, I didn't tell you to protect you, often translates to, I didn't tell you because I didn't want to deal with the fallout. D-Day can make the betrayed feel like they've just been handed a forensic file. And when they've opened it, there's a picture of themselves paper-clipped inside. One of the bravest things you can do is explain to them what is inside that file. The most ideal scenario is when the unfaithful relinquishes control of the flow of information and compassionately places that control into the fragile hands of the betrayed. For the betrayed partner, it is a daily struggle to make sense of what happened, to feel safe in a relationship that suddenly feels foreign. For the wayward partner, it is a humbling journey of facing what they've done, learning to hold space for the pain that they've caused, and then showing up day after day with no guarantee of forgiveness. When a couple commits to walking through the wreckage together, with patience, transparency, and open communication, something extraordinary can happen. Not a return to the old relationship, but something new that's been forged through fire. A connection that is rooted in truth, refined by empathy, and rebuilt with intention.